Well, thank you for tuning in to another Dangling Days video. We are back out on the banks. We're just coming to the end of this trip, mate.
We are.
So we have done 2 sessions back to back on the linear float lake.
Yep.
Relatively successful, I'd say.
Yeah, it's been okay for the time of year, the amount of cold water that's gone in. We've been washed away a couple of times during the session, both weekends, but it's been good, mate, hasn't it?
We've had a lot of rain. I think, well, both sessions really. It sort of started and ended in the rain, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got more rain coming over, so we won't be too long and wrap it up relatively quick. But sort of hit or miss, I would say, isn't it? Nothing really consistent and sort of patches of bites, little flurries. Definitely getting to that sort of time of year where it's selective feeding patterns, isn't it?
Definitely. And we've tried different methods, some of our go-to ones for this time of year. And it's been, like Steve says, been a bit hit and miss, but we've kept flicking between different methods, different baits. And yeah, we've managed to get a few bites. And over the 2 sessions,
I think, you know, we're in November now. Normally we've had some frost and sort of hard, harsh conditions with a few minuses, but still very mild, very overcast. And I think, you know, with that in mind, the zigs just haven't done what they did last year.
No, it's definitely the temperatures are still up in double figures, and it's just relentless rain, really. Day in, day out. That's all we've had for the last month or so, really. So,
and it's been quite choppy. So I think, you know, that's because we're not fishing them, you know, tall up in the water.
No.
You know, between 15 inches and sort of 3 foot, I think, is the sort of deepest we've gone. But with the undertow, the wind and stuff, you can imagine that zig is literally, you know, all over the show. We have managed a couple.
We've had a few,
on
but
the short ones.
Definitely hybrid feeders have been king on the last 2 sessions here.
Yeah. And again, only a couple in open water.
Yes. Yeah.
Most of them still up towards the sort of features. So we're casting quite tight over to the pipe and have done on both sessions. And I would say that little inlet and those sort of trees are still holding them.
And around the edges of the lake, that's definitely where the fish are showing as well.
Yeah.
You'll get 4 to 1 shows around the margins and around the features rather than out in open water at the moment as well.
Definitely. Whereas if we go back sort of last year, we were catching quite a lot in the open water.
We were.
And as we mentioned, you know, quite a few on zigs.
But they were showing in the open water then as well, weren't they? And they just haven't done that the last 2 trips. The shows have been around the features, around the edges.
Yeah.
And the hybrid feeders to those areas have definitely been the winning method for us at the moment.
Mixed hook baits in colours and flavours, I would say.
Yeah.
We've had a few on the sort of Nut 365 pink ones.
Yeah.
Some on the white plum today, so that seems to be quite productive. A couple on the standard nut feed pellet as well.
Yep.
In the 8.5s. And yeah, we've been walking around, or at least sending maybe Josh around and putting a bit of feed in.
Yeah.
Over the top of the feeders and consistently sort of casting every sort of.
We've seen carp feeding over the top of the loose feed as well, so they are having some bait. It's just they're quite finicky with the rigs.
I think this session they're definitely more proactive and we're feeding with a bit more confidence, whereas last week the water was quite a bit clearer.
Yeah.
And they were definitely cagey. They were definitely going through a bit slower, not so confident in going down or really looking for that feed. But today, 5 or 6 at a time pretty much would move through on the far margin. And you could see that they're a lot more active just by the way they're moving, and they get their head straight down. As soon as you put the pellet out, you know, last time we had a few spook as well, where we sort of tried to feed over the top, and that was wrong thing to do because they didn't like that. But this time, they didn't seem to be bothered.
No, I think one of the things this time as well is we've had to leave the feeders out there a bit longer than we normally would.
Yeah.
We'd normally be casting every 5 or 10 minutes, but now it's 15 to 20, I think, is the average, Steve, to get a bite, really.
I think you are, like I said, despite the conditions, that they've naturally slowed down. Obviously, we've got fewer liners today, so obviously, you know, less carp moving through. And like you said, I suppose winter time, you could leave a feeder up to sort of 40 minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
On the sort of commercial waters that, you know, we're fishing, especially down here as well. Yeah. But I mean, most bites, I mean, now we've had a couple, not quite on the drop, but within 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So we have had a couple of quick bites, but most bites sort of 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And some a little bit longer, up to sort of 20 plus minutes. So we've been pretty active today, whereas last week we were leaving them out there a little bit longer because it was a bit colder. But it's a productive couple of sessions. Mate.
Definitely, you know, over 30 bites, I think over 35 bites actually we've had between us over the 2 sessions this time of year. You know, where else are you going to get that? Really, it's good. It's a good little lake. If you don't know where it is on the on the complex, it's between St John's and Manor Farm.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think they've actually got a map of this one online.
I don't think they
have
have yet. No.
Relatively still sort of under the radar, but I mean they've got fish to at least over mid-double, and I
Yep.
imagine by now some of those could be sort of encroaching that £20 mark. There's meant to be a couple of cats in here as well.
There is. Yeah.
Haven't caught one of those. I'm not sure
No.
if we've hooked one yet, but we have hooked into a couple of sort of beastly
Yep.
steam trains, and we haven't been able to stop them. But yeah, no, plenty to go at. Some really nice looking fish, some stunning sort of mirrors and linears and stuff like that. And yeah, no, it's a great place to come.
Definitely. You know, just to get a bite this time of year is a great place, and if you don't have to, you know, a beginner's perfect little water to hone your skills on as well.
Well, we've done a couple of videos. I think the first video we put up, you know, we're using feeders on the float lake.
Yeah.
A few people sort of cottoned on. Why using feeders on the float? And it's like, well, you know, they call it the old float lake, but you know, it's traditionally perfect for feeders. You know, you have got a bit of a cache. You wouldn't be able to reach some of those features and the margins without feeder. And yeah, no, it's a 1 rod limit, but as you mentioned, yeah, we've had plenty of bites.
Yep.
So 1 rod each, 2 rods between us, and yeah, again, another session where we've had like 15-ish bites. So
yeah, it's been great. You know.
Another video, mate.
Another video.
I'm not sure where we're heading next.
Nope. Maybe zigging, depending on the weather. Maybe back on the river if we can get anywhere near them.
If the water drops enough to present on there, and we're not fishing or looking like fishing in the field, mate.
Yeah. So it could be zigging on a reservoir or barbel fishing, chub fishing on the river. We'll see what the weather dictates.
Absolutely. But thank you for checking out this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give us a like, leave us some feedback.
Yep.
We're open to constructive criticism. But no, thanks for checking us out, and we will have another video for you soon.
Yeah, see you on the next one.